Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today for the next webinar in our What's New series. In today's webinar, we'll cover some of the newest features in Microsoft 365 that you can implement in your business, as well as covering some brand new features that give us a bit of an insight into the future of where Microsoft is heading. Don't feel like you need to take notes or take it all in straight away, as we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar and a follow-up fact sheet later today. Also, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A box at the side at any time. There will be a dedicated time for Q&A at the end, but I will try and answer some as we go along as well if they're relevant to the section that we're on. So let's take a look at what we've got coming up today. Today, we'll be looking at keyboard shortcuts in Teams, pinned content in Teams chat, some of the differences between the Teams app versus the web version of Teams, visual updates that are coming to Office. Then we'll be looking at how you can protect your Teams time with new features from Viva Insights. And finally, how to hide your own video in Microsoft Teams meetings. We'll be finishing up with an idea of what you can do next, whether that's signing up for the next webinar or getting in touch with us to find out how you can start to implement some of these things in your business. I wanted to say welcome to all the new people that are joining us today, as well as some of the regulars that I can see have joined us again as well. My name's Jennifer Benge and I am the marketing manager at Bedrock. Bedrock is an IT managed service provider and a Microsoft partner. This means that most of the tech we implement is based on the Microsoft stack. That includes Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams, Azure, etc. We are also experts in secure, resilient networks and managed IT solutions where high performance is absolutely critical. We work with some of the organisations that have the highest security requirements in the UK, and also have some global networks that we also monitor for them. The most important thing we want to achieve, no matter what your organisation does, is to help your business grow better. We do this with the help of our 8 rocks. These 8 rocks are skills, data, backup, strategy, security, quality of service, investment, and finally, the one that we're going to be focusing mostly on today is the collaboration rock. Collaboration is the basis of most of the tech we'll be discussing. So Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams, at their heart, they are collaboration tools. We work with a lot of organisations who already have these tools in place, but they're not using them to their maximum capabilities, which means their teams are missing out on some of the collaboration features and some of the productivity features that are available, and they're just not quite using them right yet. So that's why we set up these webinars, to really help you get an idea of how to use these features absolutely to their best. Okay, let's start then. First up, we've got keyboard shortcuts in Teams. Now, there are a number of keyboard shortcuts available, and they have been available for a while. But what made me look at this for today's webinar is there is a new one, which is a keyboard shortcut for unmuting. This is a feature that works kind of like you would use a walkie-talkie. So when you're holding down the control and space keys, if you're using Windows, you'll be unmuted. So you hold it down while you're talking if you just want to have a little input, and then once you release those buttons, you're back on mute again. So if you're in one of those long meetings where you know you're not going to have to contribute masses of information, you just sort of chip in now and then, this could be an easy way, rather than fumbling around with the mouse to find the microphone button. Just hold down control and space, and that will unmute you for a moment so you can contribute, and then you go back on mute as soon as you release those buttons. A couple of the other older keyboard shortcuts that have been out for a while that you might find useful are starting a new chat by pressing Control and N if you're in Windows. So if you're anywhere within the Microsoft Teams window, if you press Control and N, it will just pop up with a new chat window, and you can put in the bar at the top who you want to speak to. The other one that I think is quite useful is just Open Calendar. So you can be anywhere within Teams, press Control and 4, and it will take you straight to your calendar view. So if you're having a quick conversation with someone and you need to check when you're free next, you can do that quickly with this shortcut. So again, the unmute one is the new one for this month, but there's a couple of others that I think are worth bearing in mind as well. Next up, we've got pinned content in Teams chat. This is something that we've actually discussed a few times, but there are upcoming changes to the way that pinned chat works. So previously you have been able to pin single messages within a chat, but now they're doing an update which will mean you will be able to pin multiple messages and they will appear in a tab form at the top of the chat. Any member of the chat will be able to pin or unpin a specific chat message. So if you have a Teams chat message that you and your colleagues often refer to or work on, this new feature will make that so much easier. You don't have to scroll through the entire chat to find the message that you're looking for. This update is due mid-Feb. So you can see when this update happens, any member will be able to pin or unpin a specific chat message, and it will appear at the top of the chat screen on a tab. The message is pinned to the top of the chat window. It shows the name of the person who posted the message, not the person who pinned it, and the first few words of that message. The ellipsis on the right allows you to go to and unpin the message. So if you click go to, it will take you to the position of that chat bubble within the full chat, and you'll be able to read the message in full from there. Bear in mind, obviously, anyone can pin or unpin, so just make sure everyone's aware of the messages that need to stay there. Don't let other people go unpinning your messages if you really want to keep them there. Next up, we've got the differences between Teams on the web and the Teams desktop app. Now, you may be wondering, or you may all be using the Teams desktop app already and wondering why we need to cover this. It's funny, we've realised recently that we are talking to a number of people who are still using the web version of Teams rather than downloading the app and using Teams there. It's important that you speak to people within your organisation as well and find out what they're using, because there are some differences between the features and functionality of the two, and you will find that users get a much better experience if they're using the desktop app. So the main difference this month is that custom background and background blur options are now available within the web version from your call settings. So this is one of the features that wasn't previously available in the web app, but was available in the desktop app. That's now changed, so you can use custom backgrounds in the web version. Some other limitations I think it's useful to look at while we're on this is that in the web version of Teams, you can only join breakout rooms, you can't create them. There are limitations to the quality of live captions that you get. Even things like noise suppression. So when you're using the Teams desktop app to make a call or join a meeting, there's a software built in that will actually suppress background noise while you're talking or while you're in the call, so that there's other people in the meeting aren't picking up so much noise that's going on around you. That feature is not available in the web app, so it's just a lower quality experience for yourself and other people in the meeting if you're picking up all that background noise. There are live event limitations. So in the Teams web version, you cannot be a producer or a presenter of a live event. You cannot share your screen or content during the event, and you cannot share system audio or be a Q&A moderator. So that's much more of, you'll just be able to attend the event, not do any of the production of that event. Also, pop-out chat windows are not available in the web version. So in the desktop version now, you can have a little pop-up chat window, so you can carry on doing one chat while using another feature of Teams at the same time. That's not available in the web app. Overall, the web version will allow you to participate, but it will limit some of the collaboration features available to you. You're generally much better off with the desktop app. So as I said, it's likely that most of the people on this call are already using the desktop app, but there might be people within your organisation who aren't getting the full value of Teams. So it's worth checking and making sure that you tell everyone else about the features that they could be missing out on. Okay, next up, we've got visual updates to the Office suite. Office has had a bit of a freshen up and it's got a new look. This is designed to help you focus on your best work. The new update includes simple, intuitive a seamless experience across all of the Office apps. So they're much more, they work together. So if you set the settings in one, it'll go across all of them. There's a customizable ribbon that you can change and create shortcuts to everyday commands you use the most, so you can really make it suit you the best. Office themes that stay in sync with your Windows light or dark mode by setting by default. So again, you set it on one and it will go across all of the other apps. You can share your work and collaborate with others in real time by selecting share and sending your draft to whoever you want. So Office now matches your Windows theme by default, and all the themes have received an update. You can experience the visual refresh in whichever Office theme you prefer, including black, which is the one on the right-hand side of the screen there, white, colourful or dark grey. One other change that's happened as a result of this is that the quick access toolbar is now hidden by default to keep everything looking a bit simpler. You can display it again really easily by just doing a right click in the toolbar and clicking show quick access toolbar. So you can bring it back if that's something you use regularly. If you're not sure if you've got this new update yet, you can set it yourself so that you receive these visual updates. Do this by going to any of your Office apps. So for example, in this slide, I've shown it with PowerPoint. Go to the top bar next to your username. There's a little megaphone icon. Click the megaphone icon in any of the Office apps to open the Coming Soon panel, which you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, and slide the button at the bottom to turn it on. If you have a look at it and decide you want to stick with the old version for now, then you can slide it back again and it will go back. You can see in the other screenshots I've got there of how to personalize your Microsoft Office. Those are the options in terms of the Office theme. So again, we've got black, dark grey, white or colourful, and you can use the one that suits you best. Next up, we've got some updates coming to Viva Insights. So Viva Insights is Microsoft's workplace analytics app. It provides insights and recommendations to improve productivity and well-being. It's the one that has sort of been in and out of the news as people saying, oh, is it looking at what I'm doing? Is it sending notifications to my boss of where I'm spending my time? It does monitor how people are using their time, but it doesn't do that on an individual basis. It doesn't send those notifications to management or anything like that on an individual basis. It will just monitor it and give an overall view of where most time is being spent. In this update, there's an updated My Team tab in the Viva Insights app in Microsoft Teams, which will show actionable recommendations to empower managers and team leaders, just so that you can stay connected with team members and keep up to date with any outstanding tasks that can block progress. You can explore personal habits that impact team effectiveness. Like, for example, you might notice that someone's spending hours and hours in one-to-one meetings, and that way you can find out how best to help them with that. Or you can foster shared productivity norms and drive a positive team culture with action plans such as setting up a recurring team no meeting day. So for example, you might decide, you know what, my team really needs to focus on getting some of this stuff done. On a Friday, we're going to have a no meeting day, and you can set that so it immediately blocks all of their calendars for that day. You can also invite teams to book their own daily focus time to help get their work done. I think this is really important in the sort of culture that we're in at the moment, where we're having more meetings than ever, and sometimes you do just need to have your own time to focus on your work. In fact, so weekly meeting time, there's been a study, weekly meeting time for Microsoft Teams users has more than doubled year over year since the onset of the pandemic. And I know personally, and generally there's been studies done that we know back-to-back meetings make it harder to stay engaged and focused. If you've got a really difficult task that you need to get done, you don't want to be pinging backwards and forwards between meetings and trying to fit in your work in those small gaps. So also within this Viva Insights update is a new effective meetings experience that will roll out in the next few months. So it's not quite live yet, but it will be very soon. In this update, meeting organisers will be able to view personalised insights and suggestions to help improve their meeting habits, as well as feedback to improve their meetings. So, for example, you can see in the slide that's showing at the moment, you'll be able to see how many meetings are focused on one-to-ones or how many are customer meetings. And by looking at those categories in a really clear way on your screen, you'll be able to learn to prioritize where you need to spend more time. Perhaps even it will help you realize where you are spending your time. Sometimes I think you can just book so many meetings, you don't realize where the majority of your time is going. Licensed Viva Insights users will be able to create and share meeting plans to help foster shared team meeting norms, such as shortening default meeting times to allow for breathers and breaks in between meetings, and always including Teams links. So I think that's another thing that's important as well that we've all been learning. Sometimes you're booking in meetings with people and thinking, oh, good, there's a gap. That's my spot. I'm going to take that. What you're not realizing is that they've had a massive block of meetings and that was their only break for the day. So by actually creating these norms that shorten the meetings, giving them a bit more break times, it just helps everyone focus more on their work as they go along. Someone's asked, are these Viva updates part of the paid for Viva packages or coming as standard? So these updates in terms of the meetings experience and the all of this meeting stuff that we've just been talking about, that is part of the paid Viva package for Viva Insights. So it's not something that's coming to the standard version of Viva, but it will be there if you're already a subscriber or if you subscribe in the future. So again, the priorities part of that as well is that using this information, you can reflect on the categories of your meetings and make informed decisions around your meeting habits. Perhaps focus on aligning those better to business and personal priorities. So those updates are coming to the paid subscribers of Microsoft Viva Insights in the next couple of months. The next one that we've got to look at, again, this is kind of in the theme of we're all sitting in so many meetings nowadays. This is a new feature that will allow you to hide your own video on the stage for yourself while others will still be able to see it. So at the moment you can turn off your own video and then no one will be able to see it. But if we try and foster a culture within Bedrock where we all have our videos on all the time so that we can keep up that face-to-face contact. But sometimes that can be distracting. If you think about it, we've never sat in meeting rooms in the past holding up a mirror to our own faces. So it can be distracting. It can be a bit overwhelming sometimes to be having your own face visible when you're talking all the time. So this latest new feature will allow you to hide that video while others will still be able to see it. So bear that in mind. Others will still be able to see it. Don't doze off. Don't forget that you are still on view. An indicator in the form of a cropped version of the video will appear to the either vertically or horizontally, depending on where your video feed is active, just to sort of remind you that it is there, although you won't be able to see your full face. To do this, you would just select Hide for Me underneath your video, and then you can undo that very quickly and easily just by clicking Unhide for Me. This feature is not out quite yet. We have been told it is due in February 2022. So it's perhaps some of you have already seen it because they do roll out not all in one go. So some people will get them before others. But it's just something that to look out for. I think if this is something that interests you, you'll be able to use this feature very soon, just within your normal Teams desktop app. So those are the updates that we have for you today. If you're feeling perhaps that that's a bit overwhelming, you don't know where to start with that, or there's something that's just the tip of the iceberg, you're fine with Teams and everything, but there's something else that you perhaps need help with. We've devised a simple way to gain board level consensus on what's important, what can be fixed right now, and where you need a plan. Our IT strategy review will give you the facts you need to make a positive change, whether that's to drive adoption of new technology or hire an internal lead, or brief a technology provider who could be Bedrock or could be someone else. We're really good at untangling all the messy stuff that can sometimes seem like too much to deal with on top of all your day-to-day work. So we're here to help, basically. If you've got a really difficult networking problem, if you feel like you need to renew your security features, just get in touch and we will be able to help you. So it's time for some Q&A. I can see I've already got some questions queued up for me, so let's take a look at these first. And obviously, if you have any other questions you'd like to pop in the box, please do now. This is your time. Will there be a feature where the deliverer can see all cameras, but participants can only see the deliverer? I'm trying to think if this is already possible. So obviously, it's not possible right now. There are features that you can do, such as the spotlight mode, where the deliverer will be spotlighted as the biggest video on the screen. So you can do that quite simply by right-clicking on their video feed and click it and highlighting spotlight, and that will make their video the biggest feed on there. But that won't hide all the other participants at the same time. So that's something I'm not aware of in the roadmap. It's basically the long-winded way of saying it. There are ways that you can make the deliverer's feed easier to see for everyone, but you won't be able to hide everyone else's as far as I know yet. But I'll let you know if that changes. You showed earlier how to switch on the new look for Office. I wasn't able to find the microphone you showed on the screen. Is this process the same for Mac users? It should be the same for Mac users. I haven't had any information that suggests otherwise. So the only thing I could think is the possibility that you've already clicked it, or perhaps you're not running the latest version of Microsoft 365 and therefore that microphone hasn't appeared for you. If you send me an email to jennifer.benge@bedrock.co.uk, I will follow up on that for you, and we'll be able to find out how to find that megaphone for Mac users. Another person, anonymous, said Control+4, which is the one that's meant to open your calendar within Teams, opened my assignments. Depends what order your icons are in. Count down your icons and I see. So you're teaching me something, yeah. So what you're saying is on the left-hand side of Teams in the app, your icons are layered down. So you've got, I forget which order it is now, and I can't see it right now, but you've got chat, calendar, tasks, whatever you've got in that sidebar. So what you're saying is the number on that side opens, the corresponds to the part of Teams that will open when you click, when you use that shortcut. That makes a lot of sense. Not something I was aware of. There is a way to view all of your shortcuts in one go. So it's worth checking if you're finding that's a problem. If you've reordered them and you're not using the standard method, then perhaps that will happen for you. But Control+4 should be the standard way that will open the calendar within Teams, unless you've reordered all of your icons. But yeah, thanks for letting me know that. That's really interesting. We used Teams for calls, but there doesn't seem to be a shared contact/phone list. Are you aware of any plans for this? A shared contact/phone list. It depends how you're using it, because in our organisation, and I think most of the organisations we work with, we set it up so that you just do a quick search for the name of the person you want to talk to, and you'll be able to get their details from there. I suppose, are you asking if you can have a shared external call list? So that the method that I just described works internally, so you can talk to anyone else within your network, but I suppose there isn't a shared external call list or phone book. That's something, again, I'm not aware of any plans to implement that, but we will try and find out for you. If that changes, I'll let you know. Okay, let's have a quick look. Ian, so yes to external. Okay, so I will keep an eye out for that, actually, because I can see how that would be really useful, a shared phone book of the numbers that you regularly call across the organisation, that you need to call out externally. Yeah, as far as I know, there's no plans to implement that from Microsoft, but it's something that we can certainly talk to them about and ask if they've got any updates pending on that. So I'll let you know. Okay, Cara, who's on the call with me, if you wouldn't mind sharing the link for the next webinar. If you want to join us again in March, we will be doing another What's New webinar on the 3rd of March. So we tend to do these on the first Thursday of the month. So please do join us again on the 3rd of March. Sign up using the link that's available now. And we look forward to seeing you again there. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you again soon.